All right, it's recording.
Okay, so here's three. You are the principal of an elementary school with grades K through 5. At the last school year, three of your teachers do not renew their contracts. One transferred schools and the other two retired. You assemble a hiring panel which includes yourself, the assistant principal, and the teachers from the grade levels with vacancies. After several weeks of interviews, you hire three first-year teachers. The school is now several months along, and you are very pleased with your new hires. In fact, having them around has made you consider the dispositions of your returning staff members. The passion for teaching displayed by the first year teachers is infectious and has reinvigorated many teachers within the school. The problem is the fresh enthusiasm of these teachers has truly made you notice the lack of passion in some of your seasoned teachers. About one-third of your current staff members have been teaching for at least 20 years. Some of them have retained the passion for teaching that drew them to this profession, while many are going through the motions, waiting for retirement. While this is not uncommon, in many schools it has become more prevalent to you this year. You find that you have the same core group of teachers participating in extracurricular fundraisers and events sponsored by the school. These are the same teachers volunteering to be active in the School Improvement Council, PTO, Hospitality Committee, etc. You recognize that a teacher's lack of passion outside the classroom most likely correlates with a lack of passion inside the classroom. You watch the students assigned to these teachers and find that they are less engaged in the learning process than their peers. You know that you need to do something to reignite these teachers' passion to perform. And the first question asks, how can you change the dispositions of those teachers who have lost their passion to perform?
The first thing that I would say for question one is that you will want to offer some type of professional development where the younger teachers may actually be the one who's presenting it. And I say that because a lot of times people do have that drive from these younger teachers because they're fresh meat per se. They're out of school and they have that energy, whereas you have the veteran teachers that have been in it for so long they've lost their interest. I think that is one thing that that could really help some type of professional development. I also think about maybe the team, that group of teachers aren't comfortable or have reached their potential in the grade level. You will want to see, okay, is it possible that you would like to change grade levels, like a change of scenery? And sometimes that will boost their energy up as well.
I agree with you, Shri. I think, like I know in my high school, we pair up the youngling, the teacher who just came out of college and trying to, teaching and working her way up, with the old school teacher. So new ideas, old ideas, and what they do is they just work together on, like, one of the teachers in biology decided to dress up as I think it's Winnie the Pooh or something, like looking a little crazy, but the kids had so much fun and she caught their attention just to get their like attention, to keep them, because we have a class. I should have said that our class is 90 minutes, so keep their attention span is really important. So they try to do everything they can, versus the old school teacher who's just so monotonous, just like blah 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 teaching, and you lose them in about 10-15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes in a class, and you still have 60 minutes to go. So we normally pair up the young teacher with the old teacher, and they kind of sit down, not during PLCs, but they just come up with a lesson plan where they combine their classes together, especially math, like the Algebra 1 classes for freshmen, because they're just all over the place.
Well, I know
that's what we have done in our school.
at my school, my boss is focusing on refocus on your purpose. And I think having a staff development on teachers' purpose in the education field, it will help them reshape what they're there for, really. And he wants you, when he say refocus on your purpose, he wants you to realign your goals as far as a teacher into where education is now and to where it used to be. And I think a lot of teachers are stuck in the past and they're not willing to change and teach 21st century learners. So I think professional development and trying to get the teachers. I'm sorry, y'all. My daughter is right here. Get the
Are
teachers
you fine?
to I become 21st century teachers as well as trying to teach 21st century learners. And I think a lot of teachers are stuck in the past and they don't want to change.
I
I
agree,
agree.
Tawanda. I said the same thing. Have those teachers to kind of revisit their why they're in this teaching field in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Because that helps to refocus, like a sense of, well, this is why I chose this profession in the first place. So I need to get back to that same spirit. And I think also pairing those teachers, you all present some good ideas as far as like pairing the teachers. And I also said with the extra curricular stuff, let the teachers decide they want to be on these committees with some of these younger teachers, and they can build those relationships with those younger teachers too. And hopefully that can kind of, spark something in them too with the older teachers.
I
Yeah, the only issue we're having is that some of the older teachers be stuck in their ways. They don't want to change, and they're not willing to change, and they'll fight you for everything that they have to do extra. It's like, why do we need to use computer? We can just do pen and paper, pencil and paper. Why do we have to use this? It's like, no, because that's how nowadays, especially in high school, everything is phones, everything is computers. You have to get their attention. Social media. So the young teachers that come out, they're 24 years old. They can't even rent a car, but at least they're connecting with the generation that's in the high schools now. They can at least say, the Snapchat, the Kick, and all of those. So they get them hooked on that part. But the older teachers, I feel like there's disconnect. I'm not saying they're bad teachers, but there's just disconnect between the generations.
And so question 2, so how can you ensure that all students receive equal classroom environments or atmosphere? And I'm thinking about flex grouping, because is that me?
I don't know.
I don't know. I hear it though.
Do you? Okay. I'm thinking that like for the elementary K, it's flex group by going from room to room. That they start actually engaging all of the students and doing something to get, playing together, but yet and still, my low group, I, I'm- I think that will make sure too, that all the make students are receiving equal environments and atmosphere.
It was hard to hear. It's kind of like chopping up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do we need to mute while someone is talking? Maybe we mute.
That'll be fine.
Okay, I'm getting ready to mute now because I'm done talking. I'm gonna mute, and then I'll come in, chime in with you all. Okay.
All right.
What was the question too again?
Hold on, I'll pull it up. Question 2 was, how can you ensure that all students receive equal classroom environments or atmospheres?
I mean, I think the biggest part is to get everybody on board, all the teachers, but it's just getting them hooked to something. I mean, maybe through PD or bring in someone that, I know, when we paired up our teachers, the old teacher and the new teacher, it seemed to work, especially for the math and biology. English departments, they're doing a little different stuff because they're all have different things that they can kind of work on it. But and it's through professional development to me, because they bring a lot of the online stuff when it, from the district, and they just kind of bring the new way of teaching. And a lot of times our principal just don't give them a choice. You just have to do it. But that's just my intake on that. It's like sometimes you give them a choice, the older teachers is not going to do it. That's just the bottom line. The new ones probably will, because they're afraid there's the first year.
I think it will go back to for the old teachers. I think it has to go back to actually giving them that. I'm sorry, my husband is draining water, so if you hear that, I know it's me. But if you go back to that presentation on how you present to the older teachers, they will be more acceptable in changing. But I've seen a lot of admins, it's my way and that's that. But I think if you have that conversation with admin and your team, it will allow an even flow.
I agree. It's all about meeting in between, because same thing in our meetings. It's like if the teachers feel like they are being heard by admin, they'll be more receptive of changing and doing something different. But once they feel like admin don't care, they just want them to do whatever they want to do, they just turn off and not listen to anything.
I agree with that. I also said consistent walkthroughs on the admin side to see what's going on in the classrooms. And those teachers who are consistently demonstrating weaknesses and showing like rigor and just engagement with their students, then you can have some type of differentiated PDs for those teachers so that they're not forced to go to something that they're doing well in. But when you see those identified weaknesses, you have the data to support that they're weak in certain areas. And you provide those things to help fix it.
Jamie, I agree with you. That saying, out of sight, out of mind. If teachers don't see you coming around, they're going to do whatever they want to do, and they will get laid back and get comfortable. So I 100% agree with that.
Hey, I also agree about. I know I just kind of snuck
Slide right in. Go ahead. We're on question number 2.
What'd she say?
Question number 2.
Oh yeah, I actually also agree with the thing about the walkthroughs and the post checks. I think that's one way to always hold the teachers accountable, and I think it really goes back to the administrator just basically setting their expectations for what they require, and also just building that culture and those relationships.
I agree with Jamie as well. The only thing I don't like about walkthroughs is sometimes administrators come in like they're drill sergeants. And I think when they come in, I think it should be like a refreshing. Okay, let me tell you what you're doing. Don't wait until 3 days later after you do a walkthrough on me. I need direct feedback right away so that I can fix it in case you come back in later on that day. And I think just the communication would help too, leaving the communication lines open.
That is so true. I know, like when I go in to do walkthroughs, I leave like a little sticky note or some type of like little feedback, instant feedback. And plus, I put it in a Google form that automatically emails it to the teacher. And so that the way the teacher can see it, they can see my glows that I give, like the positive things. They can see the grows that I give. And so then they can fix them instantly. And if I do decide to step back in that day, most of them, I will say, have fixed or, tried to attempt to fix what I've said is a grow. But I definitely agree with instant feedback because you can't wait until days later to say, oh, you did this wrong or you could improve in this area. That's not effective for anybody.
I think as far as the question 3, it seems like we have really already answered or discussed question 3. Do you guys think so, or we cover that as well?
I agree with you as well. At my school, we have it's mandatory that we pay a a dues to our social committee and be a part of the PTO. And I feel like teachers should have the opportunity to select what they want to be a part of and what they don't want to be a part of, and not be forced to do it.
I agree. Let the teachers use what like their skill base, their interest levels to choose what committees they want to serve on. Because if I don't want to be on a chess committee, then I'm not going to be productive on the chess team committee. So yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
I agree with that. I am on every team at the school, and I'm being honest. that drains any teacher, whether you're a first year teacher or a veteran teacher. It drains you because you're pulling the same ones. And I don't think that should be fair to just have a person on the leadership, co-chair. This isn't a rant session. I'm just being real. PBIS, you know, you name it, hospitality, grade level chair, what you name it, and I'm on that team. And I just don't think that that's one thing that they really need to steer away from. If you have a teacher on one particular team, you need to find other teachers within the building to serve as well. You just cannot keep pulling on the same ones.
I definitely agree with that statement. I know at my last school, it seemed like I was always on every single committee that there was to serve on. But then when I transitioned into this position, you know, going to a new school, the school is so small that, you know, the teachers, we have to do everything together. You know, if we don't do it, then no one's going to do it at all. So we see that what I find is that we have a lot of extra responsibilities. Like this Saturday, we have a pageant or something for the school. So all staff members are required to be there from 6 to 9. So just little things, especially in like the really small schools, because we only have 9 homeroom teachers. And then we may have additional support staff, but I guess, you know, that's the downside of being in a school with, you know, 159 kids.
Yeah, in our case, we're about 150 staff, so we get to rotate. And at the beginning of school year, they lay out a list of how many committees we have, and you choose where you want to participate. Now, if you don't pick at least 1 or 2, then you kind of get thrown in. So they kind of give you a choice, but if you don't select the committee, or you know, you try to be sneaky about it, they'll just gonna put you on some sort of committee. But it works. I mean, I'm on 2 committees, which is the IST and ILT. So I understand when you're in like 5 different committees and you have to stay after school, before school, during lunch. It's a lot.
I like that idea of, you know, like selecting, and then like you said, having like the ones who didn't select, then you go and put them on something, because that just kind of, you know, it's you have to be a team player at some point. So if you don't choose anything, then I fully support just being assigned to something.
Yeah. I know my first year I started, I didn't know any better, so I did not select any committees. And like Cherie said, at the end of the first week of me working, all of a sudden I was like on 5 different ones, and I have no idea how, but they just put me on each, like almost like this is what you get when you don't select. But it was very overwhelming.
All right, guys, we have 15 more minutes before this video ends. So would somebody like to read 4?
I gotta pull it up unless somebody has it open.
I already have it. So give me one second. I was doing something. All right, it reads, you are the principal of a pre-K4 4th grade school in the inner city. The assistant principal is on personal leave, and you must prepare a workshop on teacher efficacy next month. The curriculum coordinator of the county has provided you with various research materials, but you must determine the appropriate articles for your school. From your educational experience, you believe that teacher efficacy can promote gains in the classroom. As you prepare for the workshop, you attend several grade level meetings to determine how your staff responds to the term teacher efficacy. In brief, you learn that a teacher's level of confidence about ability to promote learning can depend on past experiences or on school climate. After your discussion, you realize that 4 beginning teachers want to impact their sense of efficacy. You allow those teachers to observe other teachers within the district that are using a variety of particular effective practices. During a grade level discussion with your career status teachers, you believe that more feedback and collaboration will be beneficial. You encourage these teachers to meet during the grade level planning to discuss highlights of effective teaching behaviors while providing constructive and specific suggestions to improve. From your discussions and observations over the last week, you believe that your school needs a workshop on teacher efficacy using these subpoints, setting high, setting high goals and ways to try new strategies. Through your reading, you learned that you can create a survey for your staff and discuss this data during the workshop. The survey data found the participating teachers felt themselves to be more effective after the experience and that they had implemented soft but powerful changes in their teaching styles and use instructional strategy. In order to promote teacher advocacy at your school, you must listen to your teachers and model a high level of efficacy. How can you help? First question is, how can you help the career status teachers develop this sense of efficacy? Sorry, that's the first question.
Um,
How can you help the career status teacher develop a sense of efficacy?
I'm trying to think.
Want to go to the next question while we kind of gather thoughts?
Can I go ahead and start? Well, when I was doing my paper for task 4, it talked about building efficacy in the class or in the school, and I really focused on talking about how it really starts with self in order to build any type of efficacy, no matter where you're working. So the teacher got to reflect on what they can bring to the table and then incorporate it into what the school is trying to move towards. That's what maybe I'm on the wrong track, but that's the only way I can think of it. But question 2 is, how can you lead in ways that promote mastery experiences for your beginning teachers?
I think most of those are just through, I would think it's through professional development, and administration um, have to give full support um, as far as like lesson plans and everything else.
I would say partnering that beginning teacher up with another veteran teacher and let them bounce off of each other.
I said to provide mentor teachers and coaching for beginning teachers, strategically place peer observations, allow beginning teachers to participate in differentiated PD sessions to help for that mastery.
Yeah, I know. In Guilford County, they send a teacher per department. Not a teacher, but they have a district representative who strictly mentors the first year teachers, and they come in, they observe the classrooms, and look at their lesson plans. They make sure they have I think it's called emergency lesson plan if anything goes wrong or you need a sub. So they have that extra. Forgot the word is it called, but they have those red folders basically for when they have a sub. So they each have to add an extra lesson plan to it. But the district mentors are strictly focused on the first year teachers only. And I feel like the second and third year, they should know what they're doing, but they still need guidance. So and that's when probably the administration would come in.
Tawanda, would you go back to question 1 so you can
Give me 1 second.
What's it?
Question 1 is, how can you help the career status teachers develop a sense of efficacy? I think that's my computer.
So to me, that is like the understanding I'm getting more of when you're saying career, it's more of the veteran teachers, um, the beginning teachers. Is that what everyone else is getting?
Yeah, I think it's the career status teacher.
Because when you're thinking about the career status, I think are careers, but that career status to me is more of a veteran teacher. That's what I'm getting from that. I'm not sure if I'm on the right track or not.
You mean for what a career status teacher is?
Yeah, I'm thinking that a career status teacher is more of a veteran teacher.
It is. It's a teacher who's reached the point where they can't, like, they're not year to year anymore. You know how some teachers are like year to year, they have to have an appointment to like go to the next year. But a
Right.
career status teacher is a teacher who I guess it's on continuous status. And they can only
Exactly.
be like dismissed if they like fail requirements or something like that, as far as like their data and that kind of stuff.
We no longer have the team, but it's pretty much on the career status now because we really don't have teams in place. I know in North Carolina we
I think that as the building administrator, you should definitely be an instructional leader first. So I would say you being able to provide some ongoing professional development. I think a lot of times people often are quick to say what someone's doing wrong, but they don't really offer suggestions as to how they can improve. So I would say being able to offer those teachers that meaningful professional development so that they can continue to grow.
I agree, Brandon. Even going into model lessons and just kind of show how to do a lesson plan, get that feedback on lesson plans. Because, most of us who are in those roles where we go in to observe teachers' classrooms, we're not too far from the classrooms ourselves. So we know, what good lessons should look like. So we need to actually show those lessons and be a part of that teacher and co-teach even if that's the case, if necessary.
Yeah.
All right, we have 5 minutes. Did we go over question 3?
No, not yet. Last question is number 3.
It says, you believe that teachers within your school can make a difference. How can you develop a sense of efficacy for the entire school?
So that's where.
Is setting goals a part of a sense of having a sense of efficacy?
Yeah, because you can set those goals for high expectations.
Yeah. So I would think setting goals for teachers.
But
And
that could be set at the very beginning, right? The setting
yeah,
goals.
yeah, I know for us, we have to do our PDP, and we have
Right.
to have at least 2 or 3 goals each year. And then it got to align with the school goals for the school year as well.
yeah.
Right, and that's
about
like at the beginning, then you have a mid-year,
Yeah,
and then at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I agree. Goal setting, professional development. Again, I know we've mentioned that throughout, but that's what seems to help, especially if it's targeted towards certain, things to help teachers.
Yeah.
Also, what else did I put on this thing? Peer discussions, grade level discussions, because sometimes just talking to somebody and having those conversations with your peers tend to help versus having a conversation with an administrator. Just like with the kids, sometimes their discussions between themselves are better than what a teacher can give to the student.
Right. Do anybody else have anything to say?
No, I think that's the main. I put that setting up. So that's the main thing that we have to set goals, collaborate, and continue to bounce out ideas. Model, as Jamie stated, those are all the things that can make things run smooth.
All right,
I
guys.
agree. I think we covered all the.
Well, what?
I think we all covered the 1, 2, and 3.
All right. Well, I'll be sending you all the link. Give me about 10 minutes. I'll send the link, but then you can go ahead and post it, but I have to publish it. So about 15 minutes, I should have everything complete.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
You
Have a
too.
great weekend.
Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.